Hello, good evening, Facebook Live, Lindsay Price here, resident playwright for Theater Folk, the Drama Teacher Resource Company. Here doing my little chatty chat with you. The question today, I am sure, is one that every teacher has to deal with at some point. Maybe you have to deal with it all the time, right? What do you find is the biggest distraction for your theater students, right? Students are distracted. Is that stating an obvious? That might be stating an obvious. But when it's happening in your classroom and when it's happening when you're trying to do something and it's not happening, you're giving instructions and the things are not getting through the wall, whether they're looking at their phones or you've taken their phones away and they're talking to their friends and you're trying to get them focused, right? That is what we're actually talking about, is not even just what is your student's biggest distraction. Oh, what's the one that you're dealing with this week? Put it in the comments. Share with your fellow teachers, and you know that there's somebody out there who is also going to go, oh, I wish that I could take XYZ and take it out of my classroom. So it's not only what is your student's biggest distraction, but how do we get them to focus? Light on, light off. How do we get them to focus, right? How do we get students to be present? I think it's something that's it's innately difficult for students to do. It's innately difficult for me to do at times. But I think that there is, I'm not going to say it's not their fault, but I am going to say that I think there's a lot going on in the typical teenager's brain. I think there's a lot more going on than we think. And I think that it's as easy as, let's say, 1, 2, 3 for today's students to be distracted. So, how do we work against that? How do we work positively for that instead of, sometimes taking away all the physical distractions? Well, that's not enough. You can take away their phones. I know lots of schools who have like little shoe racks, and that's where the phones go. You can separate students. And sometimes, how many of you are in this boat where you feel that you've dealt with all the physical distractions and still your students, they're off on another planet. They are distracted in here. All right. So how do we deal with that? How do we get students focused? So you'll notice that there's a couple of links in the description. The first one is a great communication exercise for drama students that gets them that they have to listen and they have to focus. That's what really focus is, right? Focus is that they are listening and that they are also able to communicate. That's the thing that we want from our students. We want them to be A, listening, and B, be able to communicate what it is that they are listening or what it is that they are a part of. So there's a really great communication exercise. I have seen this played in many classes. I have played this game in various forms myself, and it takes every ounce of concentration that I have, and I think that that's something that you can really get into. How do we deal with, how do we answer that question? How do we deal with that? What are the things that are distracting our students? In answering that with, how do we get them to focus? We need to instill that in students and also make it a habit. I think that focus is not something that comes naturally. So what is it that we can do to instill a habit of focus in today's student? So there is a really great exercise. You get your students in a circle and you tell everybody to think about a flower. right? You might want to throw out some suggestions, because sometimes, and I'm this way all the time, when, if asked, let's say, oh, what are your 10 favorite plays? And I could sit here on my own and just sort of, come up with the plays that matter. But when asked the question face to face, I completely blank. I was standing in front of a class of grade 8s when this question came. One of my favorite plays is Our Town. That's not a hard play to remember. I had to get the teacher I sort of described it, and she had to go online and find the name of the play, because it had just completely left my brain. So you might want to throw out a couple suggestions: rose, carnation, orchid, sunflower, right? Give them something that they have to think a name of a flower. Take a large ball. Soft, large, Nerf, right? And what you're going to do is that you are going to throw the ball across the circle, and the person who catches the ball has to name a flower and then throw the ball to somebody else. That person catches the ball, names a flower, throws the ball to somebody else. That person catches the ball, names a flower. So we're creating a pattern, right? So not only do you have to focus on the tactile, I'm going to get a ball thrown to me, and I have to say something, and I have to say something that is in the realm of the subject matter, and maybe I need to have a couple of flowers on hand because they can't repeat. So you are focusing on your task at hand. 2, you have to be paying attention to who you are getting the ball from and who it's going to, because it's a pattern, right? And we're going to go back and repeat the pattern. And you also have to listen. You have to listen to the flowers that are being identified, so that if your flower comes up, you need to have another flower in hand. And you also need to listen and watch to where the ball goes and where the pattern goes, right? So all of the focusing skills, you cannot be distracted and play this game. So there's the pattern of the ball going. I throw the ball, you say a flower, you catch the ball, say a flower, throw the ball, catch the ball, say a flower, throw the ball. You create a pattern until everybody has done it. And then what you have to do is then go through and see if you can repeat oh, hey, I forgot a part. So when the first person throws the ball, you'll see this. Go get the link. You don't need to trust me. When the second person catches the ball, this is even more focus, more listening, more communication. When the second person catches the ball, they have to name their flower and repeat the flower of the first person. Third person, catch the ball, say their flower, repeat the second flower, repeat the first flower. And that's the thing that they have to go, that's the thing that has to happen, so that people are repeating, not only catching and naming, but repeating the flowers. And I think it's really important too with a game like this is to really focus on students doing this game to take their turn with purpose, right? Keep everyone focused on the game. Keep the ball moving. This is something that could easily be played the first 5 minutes of every class, because it's going to take time to get everybody in the habit of focus and in the habit of this is the way the game is played. And don't let them get into I forgot. I can never remember things. Well, remembering things takes focus and practice. And so this game could be played with a myriad of things, right? Not just flowers. It could be colors. It could be food, cities, first names, last names, numbers. So that link is in the description. You can go. You can actually get a PDF download of the exercise, because that's how we roll on our blog. Okay. The other thing that is really important when you're getting getting students to focus, so that we're dealing with the distractions. That's the question we've got up there. What are the things that distract your students the most? Is it phones? Is it each other? Is it themselves? Is what's going on inside of them what is most distracting to your students? Hands up that you have students who are just distracted in their own skin, right? I know that there's so many students out there who that's what they're dealing with. And you know what? I'll bet at least half of them are just as frustrated with themselves as maybe you are with them. So we need to get into a habit of focus, right? We want the opposite of distraction is to be focused. And that means they have to be listening and they have to be present in the exercise and they have to be communicating. So, you want to get into a habit of focus exercises. If you've got a problem with distraction in your classroom, the thing that's going to help turn that around is get into a habit of focus. So another thing that can really help with focus is to talk to your students about focus. Where is focus really important, right? If you are in a scene, if you are working on a scene with someone and you're distracted, if you're not paying attention, you're not present in the scene, then you're not supporting your scene partner. And that's something that is going to take the scene down the wrong path. If you want to get your lines right, that actually requires focus. It requires listening to a line that's coming in so that you can pick up the cues. It's so easy for students to get distracted and kind of use that as an excuse for not getting their lines. Blocking and choreography, that needs a ton of focus. You just don't want your students, sort of wandering around and having their thoughts elsewhere. They have to be present and in the scene. Safety, right? I think that there are lots of opportunities on stage for things to go awry. And if you're not focused and you're not paying attention, then that is something that could be a recipe for disaster. We asked on our blog a while ago, what are some of the things? What is your advice, you guys? What is your advice and what's your feedback for getting your students to focus, be it in the classroom or be it in rehearsal? Do you guys have any great methods for focus? That's something that you can throw down in the comments, and I'm going to share right now some of what some teachers have shared with us. What I do before every rehearsal and show is some improv game for about 10 minutes and then a quick pep talk on what's going to happen. Works every time. Everybody is ready and focused. And she uses this with high school freshmen to seniors. So transitions, that's something that is another, I think, a really good tip for how do you get students focused. The outside world is very different than drama class world or rehearsal world. The brain is in a different mode for everyone from when they're outside in the hall talking to their friends. Maybe things are going awry. Maybe fights are happening. Maybe someone is in distress. And to come in and to just sort of instantly assume that everyone's going to be focused and ready to work, I think that's a lot to ask. I know, we all think that because we love drama so much, that means that every student who walks through the classroom is just it's that instant transformation, right? They walk through the door and they're instantly transformed into these wonderful, focused, ready to work drama students. And that just doesn't happen. So, what is your go-to transition game, right? Do you start the class with a transition game and then go to a focus game and then start the class? Do you, start your rehearsal with something that's fun, something that builds community, something that is gonna just get them thinking, get their brains clicking that it's now theater time, which then goes to a focus game that gets everybody together and in. Do you know the game 1 to 20? I think 1 to 20 is a very interesting focus game where everybody's in a circle and it's very close and everyone has their eyes closed. And the idea is you have to count from 1 to 20. However, there's no prescribed order. Someone says 1, someone else says 2, someone else says 3. But if 2 people say 3 at the same time, you go back to 1. So it's all about being totally focused and listening to the group and listening and being very conscious, being present. That's what we really want. That's what being focused is, isn't it? Being present. Okay, back to this really great advice and feedback from teachers on how they keep their kids focused, be it in rehearsal or be it in classroom. Routine. We have someone here who is just talking about a routine, a Friday routine. A series of commercial jingles, show lines from past shows, inside jokes from rehearsals, hysterical quotes that the kids vote on. I put this all together, and it's something that we do every Friday. They can't wait to have fun, and then they are ready to focus. It starts with training my high school actors to focus for classroom assignment performances. They perform every 3 weeks, and I don't cast the ones who are unable to focus well. So it is if you want to, get the roles, there's a consequence if you are not present, if you are not focused on the task at hand. We practice being focused in rehearsals, right? Being focused and having fun are a perfect combination for creativity. I love that. If someone is having trouble focusing in rehearsal, that's going to end up in the show. So maybe they need a partner to help them a little. Oh, lots of things going on there. One, focus takes practice. It is not something that you can assume that students are going to get right away. Two, combine focus and fun and see where your students go, right? Focus shouldn't be a chore. I know sometimes it's a chore, sometimes it's a chore. And just that acknowledgement that if someone's having trouble focusing in rehearsal, that is not going to magically go away during showtime. Right. Yes, you can't expect high school actors. It's like I just said this, to suddenly change their behavior during the run of the show if they have not practiced this behavior in class and rehearsal. It all starts in the classroom, right? Everything starts in the classroom. Shorter rehearsals. Only rehearse for 2 hours right after school. Only rehearse for 25 days. So this is someone who believes in a short-ish rehearsal and then a short-ish rehearsal period, right? If you have the longer your rehearsal period is, maybe you will students will start to lose focus. Eliminating distractions is a key factor when it comes to ensuring that production has a focused cast and crew. Yes. Stop rehearsal and sing around. Rounds. If you want a vocal warm-up that not only works on community, that not only works on focus and being present, sing rounds. Go to our blog, because there is, and I'm gonna find it because we have a post on rounds, and it's 10 rounds for rehearsal, 10 rounds for your next warm-up. Go to our blog, go to theaterfolk.com/blog, go to the search, type in rounds, and you will find 10 rounds for your next warm-up. Get students working as an ensemble, a great vocal warm-up that will improve their listening skills. And there is lots of different ones for you to use. We go from Row, Row, Row Your Boat. It is a standard. It's simple, but effective. And we go right up to White Coral Bells, which is actually one of my favorite rounds. And another lovely one called Rose. So rounds, do rounds. Right. Focus starts with the same sound as fear. Fear is a fantastic motivator. Fear of failing, fear of looking like a fool, fear of not doing one's best, fear of disappointment. And then I would say, okay, so then what do we do with the fear? Do we discuss the fear? Do we get the fear out in the open and make sure that everybody knows, A, that they're not alone, that if there's somebody who is in a state of fear, there's going to be a whole bunch of other people who are probably in the same boat. That's something that can really help students, just getting them to know that they are not alone in whatever situation they're going through. Singing together is an amazing way to focus. Great warm-up Great way to have community, great way to get everybody listening. Working together in a playful win-win goal as an entire group from day one of class rehearsal. Respect of each other and helping student partner feel good about collaborative, short-term, playful yet guided exercises. Yes, short and playful. One of my directors had us go out of the rehearsal room before we began formal rehearsals to commit to the rehearsals and then return ready to work, right? Go out of the room, come back in the room, we're ready to work. So, go to the description, grab those links. They're going to be to blog posts that have PDF downloads in them that you are going to be able to take that into your classroom, into your rehearsal, that you are going to be able to maybe ease the frustration that you might be feeling with students and their distractions, getting them focused. You want to get them focused? Create a habit. Habit is always going to be key. What can you do at the beginning of every rehearsal, at the beginning of every class to instill a habit of focus where students are listening, where students are working together, where students are present, and students are able to communicate. All that fun stuff in one great package. Okay, that's it for me tonight. Have a great one.